Let's take a closer look at the ACURA ARX-06 LMDh prototype. Now that the new hybrid cars are racing for the first time, we can see a lot of interesting design features, which we can analyze now. For this video series, we will use this overview of the 4 new LMDh cars. As you can see, the ACURA is working with well-known partner Hypercar from France. They changed from a 3.5-litre V6 biturbo engine to a 2.4-litre V6 biturbo engine. And that makes the ACURA the car with the smallest capacity engine of the 4 new competitors. In a BOP race category like the new Le Mans Hypercars, you want your engine to tick all boxes to have the best chances to react to possible BOP limits. In other words, you want an engine with large capacity and it should be turbocharged. For more information on this, check out my other video. But ACURA decided for an engine which can rev to almost 10,000 RPM. In endurance racing, that's quite a lot, and teams usually opt for a lower revving turbocharged engine. So let's take a closer look at ACURA's engine bay. We can see the engine air coming from the top, running through the air filter and then downwards to the outside sitting turbocharger. We then see a very short hose running into the plenum and a water hose right next to it. So it looks like ACURA is using a water-to-air intercooler inside the plenum, which is a very compact design. We can then see this water hose runs down to the side radiator. A closer look tells us that this is not just one radiator, these are 2 radiators stacked above each other. You see inlet and outlet of the upper one here, and the connector with a bleeder screw of the second one here. The upper one is a U-flow radiator, the lower one is a S-flow radiator. Note that their connectors are on the inside of the radiator so that the bodywork can be tighter around them. And water pipes are on the inside of the car as well for better protection and hence reliability during a crash. Important in endurance racing. Aerodynamically, positioning 2 radiators above each other is a good idea because both get the same cold air. If one would be in front of the other one, the rearward radiator would see higher temperatures and have less cooling performance. Also, such a large radiator surface increases the expansion ratio between sidepod inlet and radiator surface, which slows the air down and reduces losses. Also, the exhaust system is quite interesting. We see the 3 primaries going to the turbocharger and on the way they flow along the wastegate. The wastegate has its own cooling pipe coming from the roof scoop. Both pipes then merge to a single exhaust pipe per side. The ACURA uses a transversal X-track gearbox and a huge bell housing, which is pretty much the same length as their entire engine. They mount the wishbones and rocker arms of their pushrod suspension on their own bell housing, so they can use their own suspension geometry and don't have to use what's on the X-track box. We can also see that their short engine is not taking all the loads. There is an additional carbon fiber pipe above to reinforce the rear of the car. And now let's talk about aerodynamics. Let's start at the front. ACURA uses their traditional nose design with a massive ramp which is reaching above the front suspension. They then use a second element above to reach the typical ACURA front. Of course, this element can also be used to better control the flow at the front and direct it to certain areas downstream. Also, this element can squeeze the flow, which creates higher pressure in this area, and therefore the brake cooling inlets are positioned in a good spot. The front dive planes have a squeeze element as well to create a jet to improve the flow around the front wheels. Cockpit cooling is provided through the usual inlets at the lower center of the windscreen, but interesting is this little additional scoop on the nose which reminds us of the McLaren F-duct days. Behind the front axle, we can see how the side pods are fed from above. But if we look at the car without bodywork from the side, we can see that most of the side pod air comes from underneath. We see the joggle of the front bodywork here, which separates the airflow. An intake from above is not a bad idea, but you also get a lot of boundary layer into the intake, which reduces efficiency. Also, the wake of the bodywork's trailing edge will be caught by the intake. We can then see the aerodynamic shape of the outside surface of the side pod. That is a surface we cannot see when the bodywork is fitted, so there is some internal flow between side pod and bodywork. Also, we see how the monocoque is raised at the front to have better front diffuser extraction. The air can then exit through a slot on the outside. Above the side radiators are louvers to better release the hot air. But this is low energy air that travels downstream to the gurney flaps at the back, which reduces their effectiveness. So maybe Acura will avoid these louvers when it's not necessary. A very nice feature are the low-sitting mirrors, which remind us of the hidden Porsche 919 mirrors from 2017. The huge rear brake ducts are sitting at the high-pressure area of the rear arch. The exhaust gas are blowing towards the rear gurney, which has an opening to release the hot gas. A one-piece metal gurney could help here to use the exhaust gas for more downforce. Interesting are also the large release shapes behind the rear wheels to reduce drag and push the wheel wake outboard. So Acura did a big step forward and significantly improved their already very successful predecessor. They could get pole position for this year's 24-hour race in Daytona, and let's see how they will perform during the race. Let me know how you like the Acura ARX-06 in the comments below, and check out my other videos, online courses about top-edge car design, and visit my shop for customized motorsport equipment. See you at the next video.